one of the biggest concerns that I had, careful, hey, sit, was that like when we would go to eat dinner, that he would just snap it up.
So we're gonna see how he's flat collar, gentle leader, harnesses in general. They will control physical actions. They won't really control emotional and mental actions, which means if he's on the flat collar or he's on the if you put a harness on him or something like that. It's so funny when people try to use.
I was actually going to try to go to a harness.
It won't do anything for you.
He does this all the time.
He'll do the same thing. The only difference it'll make is it won't choke him out, which will be better. But you're still not going to have a dog that listens to you. It's quite funny considering the amount of dogs that I work with on the levels that I do, and I still see people trying to use restraining equipment to mentally get the dog to do what you want.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's insane. It's literally like it's trying to change the behavior of the subject by physically trying to pick them up and bring them somewhere else.
Exactly.
So she wanted to go there, and she was like, I'm leaving, just like he is. Bye, right? And she's walking away from me. The harness, the gentle leader, the flat collar is literally like this. Nope. So did that change her mind about wanting to leave?
No, she's still going to try to...
She's going to go,
bye. Yeah.
Right? So I need to be able to go, hey, you can't go out that door without me because I'm in charge and there's cars. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's so funny to watch people literally try to train dogs with these types of tools and expect the behavior to change.
But
it doesn't change the behavior at all. So that's what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to... So right now you have no discipline. You have no structure. He doesn't care about your existence. Like, go ahead and drop the leash. Just drop it. Just drop it.
Okay.
Right? And then just walk away.
All right. He doesn't care.
No. Not at all.
No?
Not at all. So you can literally hand him to like another human on planet Earth, and he'll be like, oh, cool, new humans to rule.
That's when I picked him up. That's how he was.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the problem is there's a lot of people that like would look at this dog and say he's terrible and he's bad and he's this and he's that. He's not at all. Nobody just knows how to handle him. Not one person has stepped up to the plate to him to tell him what he can and can't do. Right, so put it into the perspective here. Like, if
Come. Hey.
so that was a good example of, you hear that barking? If that dog was on the other side of that gate in that door barking and aggressively wanted to hurt him, you just tried to call him. No, he's not
Yeah,
coming.
and he would. Yeah.
So he could have got killed right there like that. Dog could have came out, grabbed him by his neck, ripped him around, broke his neck, dropped him on the ground, and then walked away. And then you would have, and then we would have been like, oh, what a bad dog. But I would have blamed you for not being able to recall your dog. Right? And then I would have handled the dog that did that. I can get him to do it for me relatively quickly. I would say probably within this quick session, I can show him how to be a dog. Because right now he's a wandering nose, which the wandering nose is going to get him hurt.
Yep.
I used to be an animal control officer, and I used to pick up a lot of dogs, but most of them were beagles
Because
they're hounds.
Yep. Hey.
So you need to be able to work with him accordingly. So see how you literally, he just
No.
is. So I would just not even say anything to him at this point because nothing you say matters.
Yeah.
So I would quality over quantity.
Okay.
Because what's happening now is like if you say hey and then you click at him a bunch of times, does he respond?
No.
Right? So in the future, if you want to actually connect with him and get into his brain, you need to have quality commands or quality engagement.
Instead of saying it so many times.
The only reason why you do that is because you don't know what else to do with them, which everyone does. So they bring in a dog and then the dog's doing that and then they try to get him to sit and the dog's not going to sit. Every time you tell a dog something that they don't understand, you step backwards. Every single time you tell a dog something that they don't understand and then let them get away with it, you step like 6 steps backwards. Does that make sense?
It does.
So, like, you just said, Derby, hey, and then you clicked, and that was it.
And yeah, he doesn't understand.
So you're giving him all of these, that's my point. So you're giving him all of these mixed signals of like, hey, and even if he turned around and said, yep, you'd be like, oh, this never happens. So quality over quantity. Like when I get a dog that's like that, here, let me show you. I'll just take him. When I get a dog like this, I'm not going to ask him to do anything right now because I don't have the means to follow through with it right now with what's going on. Do you know what I mean? So I'd like right now, him and I are on a good basis. Like we're better off right now than you are with him because you tell him things that he doesn't understand and you expect him to do it and he still doesn't. And he still doesn't do it, right?
Yeah.
So I have a better relationship with your dog than you do. And you've had him for 60 days. Because none of us are losing right now. I'm just standing here. So he's never won anything on me, and I've never won anything on him. Because if I were to say, hey, Derby, do this, he'd be like, nope, and then boom, point for him. Right? So quality over quantity, and no training is better than bad training.
Okay.
Right? So if I say, hey, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and he goes, no, 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 then I'm up crick shit because he just won all these things on me. Like if I looked at him right now and said Derby down, and he didn't, he'd win. And so the communication, not just you, this is a great example of what the American people have with their dog as far as a relationship goes. We expect things from them that are unrealistic and unfair. But here's the kicker, and here's the thing. Due to the relationship we have with the dog, we have no quality relationship with the dog whatsoever, and that's like really. When you use like a flat collar, like there's a lot of people who are against tools because two things, and here's the honest opinion. And I've been either way. Every day I'm either way. I'm positive, and then I'm also like, hey, you're choking yourself. Is they don't know what they are, and they don't know how to use them, and with those two things. If you don't know what something is and you don't know how to use them, how are they ever going to be beneficial?
Exactly.
If you want a delicious cheeseburger and I sat it down in front of you and you're like, I've been begging for a cheeseburger, and we're like, it's right in front of you. You're like, that's not a cheeseburger. And how do you eat it, right? And so you can't enjoy something that you want. So you want the dog to be really, really well behaved, but you don't even know what that is and how to get there and everything else in between. And there's a lot of people out there that want the same thing, but they're like, but I don't want to use tools because they don't know what they are. You saw in the beginning of this session how mad he was choking himself.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use a little slip collar, and I'm going to get his attention through this. I'm going to start developing a relationship with him with this. Yeah, and this is going to be yours to keep. So, good. Come. Yes, good boy. Nice job. Off. Now I have the means to actually reinforce what off is.
Okay.
And I have the means to reinforce what come is. If you said come before and he didn't, like we did,
Yeah,
he's gone.
just like that. Yeah, he was like, I'm over here.
So it saddens me on a daily basis how many people think they actually love their dog and haven't even begun to develop a relationship with them. And that's kind of my movement of the No Bad Dogs movement of is like, there's so many people who haven't even tapped into their dogs remotely, like not even like 20%. They love them, but they have no idea of engagement, playing, understanding, respect.
Mm-hmm.
It boggles. Nice, come on. Sit. Off. Sit. Off. Sit. Sit. Yes, good sit. Good boy. Good boy. Nice boy. Good sit. Good. Good boy. No choking.
Yep.
No miscommunication. And a calmer dog, am I right? Right?
Yeah, it's just mind-boggling how. I mean, obviously, like, you've been doing this.
Yeah.
And within
Yep.
like a couple minutes. It's
Not
just,
even. Seconds.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this, and let me ask you this. Do you realize how many dogs are killed a year from the seconds of work I just put in with this one dog, like that, it'll blow your mind, literally. How many dogs are misunderstood to a point where, like, your misunderstanding with this dog before you came in, of like, he won't come back, he won't sit, he takes food off the table. Like, this dog isn't changed, but this dog is now going, thank you, you get me, thank you. And it's becoming so much of a movement of mine, like almost spiritually, where I'm just trying to educate owners on, like, you know, there's a point where, like, people would have crossed their mind, like where you're at with him, been like, I have to get rid of this dog. Somebody did it before you, and then you're really frustrated and whatever, but he could have just got killed here today. And then the first time you came, you were late because he was running around the neighborhood. He could have got killed there by car, right? So we jeopardize, like, we mean well, right? But we jeopardize our relationship with our dog because we just don't take the time to understand our dog. And that's what I do differently. Clearly I'm not a trainer where I'm like, I'm going to teach him to sit and stay today. Why would I teach you how to sit him and stay with food? Because you know he's going to work for food because he's a freaking dog.
Yeah.
Why would I teach you how to do that and then you walk out and you're going to go, I still know nothing about my dog?
It's more, yeah.
It's a relationship thing.
Yeah.
If you can get your dog to understand you, then you can get your dog to jump through hoops and everything else anytime you want. That's the easiest part of dog training. It's important and it's fun and it's engaging, but if you can't communicate with your dog on any level, why would you use food and then ask him to do things that don't pertain to your relationship? Like, I like using food, but I definitely never want to use it on a dependability basis.
Yeah, and that's where I was getting at.
Of course.
Yep.
Well, it's one-sided. It's one-dimensional, right? Like, if I asked you to come in and you hated me or you didn't like me, and I said, but if you come in, I'll give you $100, and I said, come in every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, guess what? You'd be here every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's dependability on, like, I'm doing this not for you, but for the currency. And that's important. But what I want you to understand also is when you're teaching dogs things, it's important to have the currency of food and toys and balls, but, like, your underlying relationship, I believe, is more important than teaching your dog all these silly tricks that don't actually do anything for your relationship in the long run of, like, safety, relationship, things like that. So, okay, so let's get started here. I want to show you what I'm doing with him. Let's go, buddy. Go. Good. Come. Good boy. Come. Nice boy. Good boy. Let's go. Good. Let's go. Good boy. And he's having fun, right? Like,
look, his tail's wagging.
Oh, yeah. Because now he's going, oh, thank God you came here, man. He's like, I don't know what the hell I was doing. All of his life, he's never spoke to anybody. All of his life, he's never communicated to anybody. So it's literally like going abroad in Korea or Brazil or Germany and just looking around going, I am so confused. You're going to eat, you're going to sleep, but you're not going to live. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what dogs do when you can't communicate to them. And it's so frustrating because you're like, I love you, you're so cute and good and you're good with kids and blah, 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 but, like, why won't you listen? And we shun the dog for not listening, but when really you're speaking two different languages.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know what I mean? At what point in your life could you stand next to your dog like this and talk to somebody and have him just sit here? Right?
No.
It wouldn't happen.
Yeah, no, it would not.
Right? So so is this really clear of, like, I'm really doing something wrong here, right? On a daily basis, we get a dog that another person said that they needed to euthanize that we change every day, right? And this isn't that case at all, because he's great. He's an awesome dog. Imagine if I spent, like, 2 weeks with this dog, how cool he would be. Within, like, minutes, I can literally calm him down. He's a dog.
Yeah.
For once in his life, he has a relationship with another human like myself that he can actually relax, depend on, look up to. When he first came in, he was like,
yeah, yep.
And you've never been able to do anything with him.
Mm-mm.
I'm really, really rehearsed in this, and I've devoted my life, and it's my calling. Like, I could do this when I was like 13. I had no idea that people couldn't do this. When people had dogs, I would dog walk for free, and I would just go dog walk, and I'd bring the dogs back, and they would just walk nicely, and they were like, "How are they today?" And I'm like, "Great, they did fine." I walked 4 of them on my one side, and they're like, "What?" You know? And so like I was naturally able to do this I was never taught any of this. So there's a little bit of difference. Like I didn't go to school for dog training. I don't do any it's in me. It's intuitively in me.
On the one side.
Yep. So I'm left side, one hand, loose leash. So he tries to pull, I say, "Not yet, buddy. My walk with you. You can't pull. It's on my terms." Good. See how nice that is?
Yeah.
Loose leash. Good boy, buddy. And you know what this tells me? Is I'm more excited for him than I am for you because he's been begging for this his whole life. This dog has been begging for guidance his entire life. He's been begging for somebody who speaks his language that can actually tell him what he can and can't do. Because I gave him a little bit of guidance, and he said, "Thank God for you." And now, when I move with him, he does it like come on, buddy. I don't have to do anything, right? And this is going back to what you were saying earlier about I was thinking about getting a harness, and the only time he listens is when I have food. I have done all of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's the calmest he's ever been on the leash with just my ability to tell him, "Hey buddy, this is what we have to do." I'm not using food, because the problem is if I were to start it off with food, we wouldn't have been able to decipher or tell, is he listening to me
Or the food.
or is he listening to the food, because he's a freaking beagle with a prey drive. All animals work for food. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like it's just in like your little hands. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
I've never been able to do that.
yeah. So the point is we have to be able to decipher the differences between, like, I am not getting him to work for me for anything but our relationship, my raw ability to say, "Hey buddy, this is what you got to do. Please and thank you." Got it. Let's go. Good boy. Well done. And he is so cool. So cool. This is the type of dog I'd love to work with. Good boy. Good boy. Let's go. Good boy. Come on. Let's go. Good boy. Let's go. Good boy. Come on. Yeah. Let's go, honey. Good boy. Good. Let's go. Good. Sit. Sit. Yes. That's my boy. What a good boy you are. Good boy. What do you think? Cool, right?
It's really cool.
You're like, wow, this is really
It's
coming.
very overwhelming. I mean, in like a good way, and that's why it's so like emotional, because it's raw. Like what you're doing.
It's real,
Yeah.
There's no gimmicks.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's
it's just like, oh my God, like I'm so taken aback in such a good way that I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's really cool.
yeah.
He's so cute.